frightening on so many levels, and sad and frustrating as well, because early on and deep into the night, just no chance for fire crews to go on the offensive and do what they usually like to do in these situations. Just too dangerous. Marissa, thank you so much.
Yeah, well, and that changed. I mean, just one more thing I was going to mention, Jim. When we got here earlier and we saw some of those structures, the homes here burning, I mean, they were trying to put those out. They were trying to put some water out on these homes, but then, I mean, the winds were so bad, it just kept moving and moving, and I think at that point, there was nothing much to do but just stand back and really just try to mitigate it from getting over to this other side.
Marissa, thank you.
Right now, Jeff Todd has been moving through Superior and Louisville, but in multiple situations. And, Jeff, we've been seeing a lot of coverage from our reporting crew, everybody doing a great job, but you can kind of see in the background the flames, and we know some homes are going up. You're getting a first-hand look in some of these neighborhoods at the destruction.
Yeah, Jim, really a concerning flare-up. We're at the Adventist Hospital looking over Highway 36 back into this new construction in an area that they are calling downtown Superior. A few minutes ago, these were the flames that I think Alan and photographer Rob McClure were trying to see from all the way back at 96 and Dillon Road, which is a few miles away. We noticed this, and so we came here, and we are seeing these flames lapping above this roof line of these homes in this area. We have seen this glow grow over the past hour or so, and I think that you may even be able to see the smoke that is coming out of this area and how quickly it's moving, and that may be an indication that these winds have not completely died down. As we're seeing this smoke move off of this fire, it's showing us that especially at higher altitudes, we're still getting some good gusts and some significant wind, which we believe is probably still driving this fire. If I have my bearings correct, this is an area that has been burning since early in the afternoon. We had a photojournalist that had a bird's eye view of fire crews attacking apartment complex that was under construction, and so it had a lot of that lumber and was putting off a lot of embers while the winds were still very high. So we know that there have been fire crews in this downtown Superior area. We have talked to some residents who live in that area much earlier today. They were monitoring their home, and they were hopeful that the smoke would have blown past this area. But here, as we're getting very late in the night and still seeing significant fire activity in this downtown Superior area, it's a very concerning sight, because as we've seen all day, these flames are just too hot and too big for fire crews to really start to tackle. And so this is a very concerning scene as we see this latest flare-up late in the night. As these temperatures have gotten very cold, the wind has calmed a bit, but again, as I said, watching this smoke plume come out of this area gives us an indication that the wind is still driving these flames. Mac and Jim?
Sure is, Jeff, and it's going to be a long night for those fire crews. And, you're right. Every time we kind of span the horizon and look around the scene and see that, things seem to be calming down, something like this starts up, and it's a reminder that it's going to be a very long and a very dangerous night for those fire crews at the front lines.
Yeah, Jim, this is the most significant fire that we can see. Eric, I think you're okay. But just personally, I'm looking off over the town of Louisville. There still are a lot of lights on the business district along McCaslin, but I am seeing some significant flare-ups because this Marshall Mesa continues kind of to the north of Louisville here, and we are seeing some big flare-ups from an area that I do believe is still part of the mesa that is on the north side of US 36. And beyond these flare-ups, I'm still seeing many embers burning in what are the residential areas further up McCaslin. And I do believe that's called the Davidson Mesa. So this is an area much beyond where the fire started, but obviously still some significant fire activity so many hours after this started.
All right, Jeff, thanks very much.
And I think we're going to check in with Dave now. Dave, how are the winds looking now? I know you're keeping a close eye on it.
Yeah, we're watching them just come and go. They lessen in intensity and then come back. It's certainly not as strong as all of our crews are saying, not as strong as they were earlier in the afternoon, but still they are not going away. They don't want to give up the ghost here tonight. So as we look at the Middle Fork Fires right here and the Marshalls Fires right here. 41 mile per hour in Boulder, 16 in Superior, 11 in Louisville, 22 in Lafayette. We've just got that surge of wind coming right through that area. A lot of wind coming down Coal Creek Canyon area and from El Dorado Springs, slamming right into that zone there. And again, not as strong as it was, but a big improvement over the afternoon. Here's the forecast now for the rest of the night tonight. 30 in Boulder, 10 in Broomfield, 11:30. Then as we go into the evening, it dies down somewhat again. We got about 15 mile per hour in Boulder, 9 in Broomfield. Overall, the trend is for it to lessen in intensity. But I think by the time we get to the late morning tomorrow, this is 6:30, still going about 10 to 20 mile per hour gusts here, and then in the late morning things really die down, and the reason for that is then we got that cold front that will be coming in and delivering the snow for us. So here's the front range forecast for New Year's Eve. Let's take it full, and this is what is really going to bring some relief, not only the fire area but all of Colorado. Here we go, 5 o'clock in the morning, snowing like crazy in the mountains. Now if you're going to the mountains tomorrow in the morning, especially through the early part of the afternoon, right along I-70, the Summit County Operations of Emergency Management is saying expect whiteout conditions and some impassable roads in Summit County through Saturday morning. Their hotels are full, and if you get stranded, there will likely be no place to stay. So they put that message out. 9 a.m. it's snowing like crazy in the mountains, and then we get our little snow coming through the front range initially. So we'll start to get some snow over the fire areas in the morning. And then by lunchtime, we see more and more moisture coming in. And then it's afternoon when we really start to see some snow ramp up. That's at 1:30, 2 o'clock. Into the afternoon rush, we have heavy snow going on around the Denver metro area. Continuing through the night, that's at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. And then after midnight, that's when it starts to slow down a little bit. But we still will have some snow off and on all the way through New Year's Day morning until it breaks up in the afternoon. So here we go on the snow amounts. Now, for the Denver metro area, I'm looking for the snow to start to arrive probably after the lunch hour as flurries, and then really start to ramp up by the afternoon rush. 2 to 6 inches of snow here. If that happens, that'll be the biggest snow we've seen so far this season. Then from parts of Broomfield up to Boulder, up down to Evergreen and Conifer Bailey, 5 to 10 inches of snow in that location there, sliding through. Now we look at the mountains. This is the future cast for the mountains. Big heavy snow coming through in the morning, and wind gusts in some mountain locations could go 40 to 50 miles per hour. Okay, it's going to lessen on the front range, but increase in the mountains tomorrow, and that's what really could be problematic if you're traveling through the high country in the morning tomorrow. And then it picks up as far as snow goes into the afternoon, and kind of you could generally see the heavier snow transitioning to the front range and the eastern plains by the time we get into Friday night and Saturday, although the mountains will continue to see snow all the way through New Year's Day up there. So there's a look at that. And we also, let's go back to this map and let me show you what we're expecting. Now, Summit County over into Steamboat Springs, down through Aspen Vale, 1 to 2 feet of snow for you guys there. Same thing down there in the southwestern mountains. And then you have that strong wind all over the place. We're going to have avalanche issues all the way through the weekend. We have an avalanche watch today for all those zones. It'll probably likely go warning tomorrow and stay with us all the way through New Year's Day as far as the back country goes. Be careful if you're in any of those zones. Stay out of them until after the New Year weekend, I think. And also, eastern Colorado, just want to throw this in there, you will be getting snow as well. Likely amounts will be smaller, but you will get snow. There's a little heavy shot down there in the southeast corner. As that storm moves out, you might get a 3 to 6 inches there down in Springfield and Baca County down there. So low temperatures tonight in Denver. The storm's not coming until tomorrow. 20s tonight, and including that fire zone area, upper 20s from Broomfield back up to the Boulder area. That's going to slow down the flames, even if we got a little breeze blowing from time to time. Tomorrow the cold air sets in and we finally start to see some moisture coming in. Winds will not be as strong. Then we get into the cold. High temperatures on Saturday, New Year's Day, only in the teens. And Saturday night, look at that, bam, we go down into the meat locker. We're going to be in the single digits all over Denver, up to Fort Collins and all the way down to Castle Rock. Very cold. Conifer, you might go down below zero. And Evergreen, you're going to be pretty close with that one there. So weaker winds tonight over the area, not going away, just weakening. And then tomorrow, snow develops as we get in the morning. I'm not looking for snow in the metro area till after lunch. Earlier from Boulder up towards Fort Collins, and only 38 for the high. 17 Saturday, and then we break out of it by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday we warm it up again. But what a cold start to the new year out there. And again, I know it's late, guys, but I can't stress enough how historic this whole fire situation is. Devastating fire. You gotta feel for those people up there in Superior, Louisville, who lost their homes today. Almost 600 homes lost in a short period of time. And we talked about this earlier, but can you just imagine having somebody knock on your door, hey, you gotta get out of here 15, 20 minutes. Take what's important to you and get out.
No.
I can't even imagine having to go through that.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people have done that today.
Yeah, and also the shock, Dave, I think if you live in Evergreen or Buena Vista, Estes Park and around those areas, every now and then you say, hey, we figured this could happen every now and then. You're sitting there in your neighborhood on the golf course in Louisville,
right.
and all of a sudden you get evacuated, and then as we've been reporting, a lot of the homes around that course, Coal Creek, destroyed. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, and in that type of area, you're not prepared, They've already had these fire seasons that we've went through year after year, and they know what to do. They know what to get going. They know where to go, that type of thing. How do you even know where to go? Get out of your house. Well, okay, where do I go? I got all my stuff, my kids, take my dog or whatever. Where do I go? And they got to find out all that stuff. Just a bad situation for all those. We hope and pray, though, that there are no fatalities out of this whole thing. So far, we haven't heard of any, so that is one silver lining out of this, if we could find any at all.
That is excellent news, and our hearts do just go out to all of them, hundreds of homes.
Yeah, all right. Dave, thanks very much. Right now, we're talking about the evacuations, well over 30,000 households, and this is the current evacuation map. There is an update that we haven't erased, if you will, from this map. That area down in Arvada, down around the old Rocky Flats that was in pre-evacuation, those pre-evacuation orders have been lifted. Everything else, though, that you see right now is timely, and mandatory evacuations going all the way up as you follow, Highway 36 to South Boulder Road, that exit on the south end of Boulder, all the way down into Broomfield and even Westminster. That was added to the evacuation list. Both towns, Louisville and Superior, evacuated the entire cities. And it's really been remarkable, and let's hope that the evacuation map stays as is, and there are no more people added to the map tonight who are going to have to leave in the middle of the night. And tell you what, 30,000 plus homes evacuated, that's an awful lot of people, and so tragic to know many will be going back into areas and find that their homes have been lost as they hopefully can get back in tomorrow and assess damage.
Right, and we're seeing the view now from Costco, Superior Costco. This is the video that you're looking at on your screen here now. People shopping when they got the call to clear out of the store there, and people running out. You can hear loud sirens as they tried to get to safety.
And look at what they're walking out into. I mean,
yes.
The inferno is already going, intense smoke. And a few minutes after that, we saw people in their cars, and that was really something.
Oh yeah, trying to navigate through all of that icky smoke. It's.
Yeah, it was tough. And then we saw them trying to get out. It was so smoky, you could barely see 10 feet. Hopefully there were no fender benders as people tried to get out. Right now, I want to get another update from Alan Janae. Alan, we heard you chatting with Rob McClure, and tell us what you were telling him. We love your observations.
Yeah, we just said, wow, that was quite an explosion. We from time to time throughout the day have heard explosions, and that is, potentially somebody's garage going up or something like that. Yet another one. I'm going to peel off my mask here. I've taken to wearing the mask when I'm off air because someone with the Fire Chiefs Association pointed out to me that this is not a wildfire. This is not wood smoke. This is homes burning, and so you have a lot of toxins in this air. This is more toxic air about which firefighters have been more and more concerned through the years because of the amount of plastics in our homes. We should be concerned about what's in this smoke that's out here. Behind me, you can still see the situation as people attempt to go into these areas to the west of here, the west of 96th and Dillon Road. They're headed out to the west on Dillon Road, and they are being allowed by police and escorted by police into that area with livestock trailers to look for livestock that's on the loose out there. Now, it's a little out of view what's going on out there. I suspect what's happening is they're letting a few out at a time to look for them. But one of the people associated with this effort, he said, you know, boy, tracking them down in this at night is going to be just a nightmare, really difficult. For a lot of folks, there have been a lot of different stories throughout the day of what they've had to go through with this fire. Early on this afternoon after we got here, I met a couple that was walking down the road with their suitcases, with backpacks with them. They had been kicked out, they said, of an Uber vehicle. Pardon my, that's not funny, but the Uber driver that was driving them to Boulder says, I can't go any farther. I'm leaving you here, you'll have to get out. So they were walking down the road out here with their possessions and trying to figure out a way they were going to make it to Boulder. Here's what the woman said about it.
We flew in from Michigan and Ohio to Denver, and then we took a Lyft to Denver to Boulder, and then our Lyft driver was driving this way, hit a fire, freaked out, pulled a U-turn, and with zero visibility, going down a one-way, and we were like, you can't do this, you're going to kill us by car accident, and he didn't speak very good English, and he had a meltdown, so he kicked us out.
Wow, Lyft driver, not Uber driver, as I indicated before. So they ended up getting picked up by a friend, and I don't know if they got to Boulder or not tonight. This is a roadblock, and people still not allowed through to get to areas. We can expect that to continue for a long time to come. And when daylight comes, we'll get a better understanding of what kind of damage we have out here. Jim and McKellia?
Alan, thank you so much. And we're going to send things over to Jeff Todd now. He's been moving through Superior, Louisville. He has an update for us on the destruction there.
Yeah, Mac, we're still kind of seeing this one fire grow in the downtown Superior area. From where I have my bearings currently, it seems like this fire is burning a lot closer to McCaslin Boulevard. Some people may be familiar with the ice arena or sporting complex that's just off of 36. I can see that, and this fire is a few blocks away from that to the west. The other interesting thing as we zoom in on this fire and see this picture is that it's very obvious that there's still power on in that neighborhood as we look at the Christmas lights on the homes or apartments in the foreground with the orange glow of the fire in the background. Another landmark that a lot of people who are very familiar with this area may know is that office complex that's at the top of the hill south of Superior on McCaslin. I can see lights on at that office building as well. That's an area where it actually started, so it seems like just after noon, and we saw the fire coming off of Mesa towards Cedar Creek neighborhood right now. As on the left side, we see some flames start to lap up a little bit higher. So this seems to be one of the most active areas still burning within this fire. We're going to try and go see if we can get a better vantage point on this from closer to McCaslin and 36. If we get a good one, we'll bring it to you in a few minutes.
Jeff, I'm sure you will. And, Jeff, interesting, I know you're a proud CU Buffalo, and you mentioned that sign that's always been along the highway, saluting the Buffs, and as they changed the name of the visiting opponent on football weekends by Coal Creek Golf Course. But I did see a tweet earlier this evening from one of the CU football assistant coaches, and just heartbroken. He realized that his home had been destroyed, the cars as well, and was able to get out with his family. But, that's somebody who works in a prominent position, if you will, for the football team in Boulder. But when you just think of the thousands of people who are going to be impacted by this, not only the hundreds of people who will find out that their homes are gone, but their relatives, their friends, and it's the next few days and next several weeks and months just going to be just incredibly painful for that Boulder community in the areas that you've been reporting from tonight.
The outpouring of support is not just going to come from Colorado. We know that people along the Front Range will come and support this community, but I've been getting texts from all over the country, people watching and concerned, because this is an area that a lot of people know about. A lot of people, whether they live in Boulder County or not, have taken 36 out to go look at the Flatirons, maybe make their way to the CU campus. And so as you roll along 36, many people know this area very well. because it is so close to the highway, but it will certainly be a tremendous outpouring of support for all the people who have lost so much today.
Jeff, incredible. Thank you.
CBS 4's Michael Abeda has been doing yeoman's work as well, like all of our crews out there. And I know you're off Interlaken. And Michael, can you describe? I'm looking at that scene behind you, and it seemed like about half an hour or so ago, we did see some active flames, saw the glow. Hopefully, it looks like now we're just seeing the emergency vehicles. What do you notice?
But yeah, Jim, quite a bit darker back there. A lot less activity, like you said, just the lights from the emergency vehicles. There are a few hotspots that have been popping up. I'll show you where those are. Number one, we have over here in the distance. You kind of not really see it at this point, but it does flare up from time to time. That's in the Marshall area. That's by Marshall Lake. There's the trailheads over there. Not really a whole lot of houses over there, but it does flare up from time to time when the wind picks up. The other one is over here. Looks like that's on the other side of 36. It flares up from time to time again with the wind. There's a lot of white smoke coming out of that area that flares up. And that's this one that's like just straight ahead of me. You can see there actually are active flames back there. So, this fire still not over. I mean, we've been out here for how many hours now? Fire crews have been out here for how many hours now? And, things are still burning, things are still on fire. Thank God that the wind is not blowing the way it was earlier with those hurricane force winds, but that's allowed firefighters to really start, and really that's what they're doing. They're just starting their battle against this fire. And look, this neighborhood here that I've been in front of for the last few hours by El Dorado Elementary or pre-K to 8 school, looks like they got all the fires out in that immediate neighborhood. They're kind of just patrolling the area, probably looking for hot spots in case embers fly and decide to start something else on fire. But so far, good news, all looking quiet, and now the next phase of this fire begins when the daylight reveals tomorrow what has been lost, how many people lives will be changed, and if there are any fatalities out here. But for now, the cloak of darkness brings a little bit of peace out here as first responders continue to fight.
Yeah, it does, Michael, and I'm thinking that so eerily quiet, really not even a siren, but let's not forget the hundreds of firefighters who are going to be working through the night, putting out hot spots and just trying to protect the safety of these neighborhoods. But just heroic work, and with those winds dying down, they must be weary, but I'm sure a lot of them will continue to work through the night to try and make these neighborhoods safe for when other emergency responders want to get in there and assess the damage.
Right, and let's not forget, the Excel workers, the electrical workers that are coming out here,
Absolutely.
trying to repair, bringing power out here to a lot of people who don't have power. I had to put gas earlier, and I had to drive almost to Golden to find a gas station.
Wow.
Such a small problem for me to have.
Yeah.
But, think about all the people who live out here on this cold night as the temperatures dip that don't have power. And there are those Excel and those power workers that are out here, working hard too to make sure that those people who haven't lost their homes and the shelters that are housing people tonight have power so that those people can stay warm.
Yeah, that's true, Michael, and I'm thinking that there are a lot of people in some neighborhoods that go back in and find out that their neighborhood survived pretty much scot-free, and they say, we'd like to move back in, but the power outages, I'm sure, going forward will continue to be a problem in that regard.
Right, and then we've also heard that because of the strain that this fire has put on the system, that there may be rolling blackouts throughout the state. I've heard as far as Alamosa, places that may be affected with power outages because of and gas outages because of the things the strain that was put on the system. I'm a little bit of a utilities nerd. My dad worked in utilities in Colorado Springs, so I pay attention to that kind of thing. But it goes to show that even in the high country, even on the San Luis Valley, this fire is going to affect the whole state.
Yeah, we're just glad that you're our nerd, Michael. It means the world to us.
At least I'm somebody's.
Yeah, Michael, on a serious note, I don't know if you heard us earlier in our coverage, XL saying natural gas infrastructure, I get the impression, has been damaged interrupted, and because of that, that was infrastructure that was taking natural gas up to Summit and Grand counties. So they were telling folks up in Summit and Grand counties, please try to conserve, because the natural gas that would typically come your way has to go through some of these wildfire areas in Boulder County, and they've been impacted. So even that far away in Summit and Grand County.
And that's bad news for them, because the second part of this weather event is going to be the snow that's going to happen and the cold that's going to happen to those people. And now, trying to heat their homes after that natural gas infrastructure has been damaged like that, like you said.
Yeah. All right, Michael. Thanks so much.
And as Michael was saying, this is just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
There's so much more going forward. And
Absolutely.
Can you imagine going to bed? Do you even go to bed? I mean, do you even sleep when you're worried about if you are going to have a home?
You know what, I think just because of emotional exhaustion and the day, the way that it's been, some people probably think they'll try to stay up and they'll just conk out.
Yeah. We want to check in with Marissa Artemas now. And Marissa, intense earlier tonight, and we hear that there's some ash flying around. Describe what's going on there now.
Well, we just moved down about a mile from where we were at about 30-40 minutes ago. We're now at the intersection of Marshall Drive and El Dorado Springs Drive. And if you've been watching our coverage, you know that we've pretty much just been up and down this stretch monitoring this area. Now, I want you guys to take a look back here. Earlier today, this entire area was engulfed in flames, embers flying everywhere. And if you look over there where those red lights are, you can obviously still see some active flames. Now, the police officer that I just spoke with today said that that's the home that, if you've been following our coverage, we saw first get set on fire, and now, it's non-existent. It's just rubble. And so we've been here throughout the day, 3-4 hours, and we saw it go down. From when we first got here to it actually being a home, a structure, to now it being nothing. But the police officer tells me that units continue to go back there because they're trying to put out some of those active flames, because again, with some of these winds that tend to come in and out, they want to make sure that that doesn't spread alongside the stretch. And that being said, again, when we drove down Marshall Drive here, most of these structures were gone, completely destroyed. And I want to say that the last time we were over there, which was maybe around 6, I saw maybe one structure in a stretch of about 2 miles, one home, everything else completely gone. Again, we're talking cars, tools, sheds, everything just in that area. And again, in that area also just downed poles and trees, pretty much just moving everywhere. And if you take a look over here to my right-hand side, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but those are obviously just embers that, depending on where the wind's going and when it comes in, they start to just flicker. So it's still pretty active here, and the crews are going to continue to stay out here. The officer I spoke to right now says that they're no longer, for quite some time here today, they were allowing people to go back into that area, this stretch this road that's now blocked off, but now you can no longer do that because it is a safety hazard. And I want you guys to take a look over this way. Go ahead and take a look over to my right here. This is an area that I showed you guys earlier today, but this was a home. And as you can see, there's still flames going there. There are embers that are coming down this way. And so, of course, the officer told us to just take caution and make sure that we're monitoring our situation here, because it's still active. And as I look around right now at just some of the foothills in these grassy areas, we're seeing little hot spots pop up and embers flying. So again, I actually spoke to the man who owned this property, and when I asked him about it, he had no words. He pretty much told me, I don't know what to say at this point, and his